Now, President Biden will have his first chance to nominate someone to the nation's high court.
This is a little bit of an interesting sight. This is the same setup that we had that brought us some snow earlier this morning. We'll see if it delivers tomorrow morning from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, Russia continues its military buildup along the borders of Ukraine.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
2 of 9 suspects involved in a 2020 murder in Lawrence County learned their fate. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, 2 suspects take a plea deal and will spend the next several decades behind bars. A judge orders 23-year-old Gary Hunter Jr. to 40 years in prison and 26-year-old Deanna Parks to 30 years. Both deals spare them the death penalty in the murder case of Sarah Pascoe. Prosecutors say in 2020, Hunter and Parks, along with 7 other suspects, kidnapped Pascoe and a second female victim, forced them to dig their own grave in Miller, Missouri, and then shot them and left them for dead. Pascoe was shot once in the head and died. Prosecutors say the second victim hid under Pascoe's body and pretended to be dead as Gary Hunter Jr. fired into the well. Authorities say that woman survived and was able to tell investigators where they could find Pascoe's body. You can find additional information on this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, it's still rather chilly outside. If you need another reason to stay indoors, there it is. Mike Lysop joins us with the first look at the forecast.
So, Tanya, am I allowed to peel back the curtain here and kind of give people like the insight about how the beginning of the show works?
Sure.
So what we do is you'll notice on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a couple lines pop up detailing exactly what we're going to talk about, whether it be a news story, whether it be a weather story. And I noticed that Tanya had a good day to snuggle. And I think any day that it's below 65 is like that. However, at least we're progressing into the 40s today. You know, if you would have told me about Tuesday or Wednesday morning, I would have been like, yeah, let's not get out of bed. Let's put on the fuzzy socks and let's just do that. But hey, we're going to end up with sunshine and temperatures in the mid 40s. That's not too bad. And wait till we get to a 7-day forecast. I think everybody's really going to enjoy that. We're starting to see the cloud cover begin to break out to the west. And then look at the southwest and northeast diagonal line that we've got. And even the cloud cover that we have, very, very dry. You know, a lot of that snow that we got overnight, number one, really didn't amount to anything, especially when we compare it to what Springfield had. But number two, we have a very dry atmosphere. So some of that was coming up on the radar wasn't even able to hit the ground, almost evaporating, if you will, because that snow being so light. There's a live look outside of Television City, a little light cloud cover, but hey, our temperature's now well above the freezing mark. Still waiting to hit a consistent 40. Nevada has already made it up to 42. But a whole lot of 37 to 39 degree temps is where we stand right now. But we'll make it up around 44, 45, not too bad. Increasing cloud cover overnight and a little miniature cold front is kind of what we're referring to it as, because it won't be elongated, and also too, it won't drop us as low as what we had Tuesday and Wednesday by any means. But for our afternoon planner, this is going to be the big difference. It's all a matter of where the wind comes, because for the last couple of days, we've just turned the dial from west to south to east, and that plays such a large part. Now, that little shot of snow that you saw roll through there for early Friday morning, no, that's actually not going to affect us. And once again, it's the result of the atmosphere being so dry. So as we look at the 7-day forecast, look at those weekend temps, Tanya, 54 and 51. Now, speaking of the weekend, right here on KOAM and our sister station on Fox 14, we will be hosting both NFL championship games, so we'll run out to each site and see if weather will play a role in either of those when I see you in a bit.
All right, sounds like a plan. Well, topping Nation Watch, the president says he will stand by his campaign promise to nominate a black woman to the high court. He made the announcement alongside retiring Justice Stephen Breyer this morning. Justice Breyer plans to step down while Democrats control Congress, giving President Biden his first opportunity to fill a vacant seat. President Clinton nominated the longtime liberal justice back in 1994. His retirement will not change the ideological makeup of the court, now split with 6 Republican-appointed justices and 3 selected by Democratic presidents. The front runner on the list of potential candidates is 51-year-old federal appeals court judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who clerked for Justice Breyer. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he wants to move quickly on confirming a nominee. He is expected to follow a similar timeline Republicans used to confirm Justice Amy Coney Barrett in just over a month. It now takes just a simple majority to confirm a Supreme Court nominee after Republican lawmakers changed the Senate rules in 2017 with a 50-50 split in the Senate. If Democrats stick together, Vice President Kamala Harris would be able to break the tie. Justice Breyer has said he will not retire until his successor is confirmed, which will likely be late summer or early fall. Overseas, Russia's continuing its military buildup along the borders of Ukraine. The Russian Navy has been holding new exercises in the region. The U.S. and NATO have given Moscow a written response to its demands for security guarantees, but they're also preparing for a possible Russian invasion of Ukraine. Holly Williams has more from the Ukrainian capital.
There were more Russian military drills yesterday, and 6 US fighter jets arrived in Eastern Europe for NATO drills. With roughly 100,000 Russian troops massed on Ukraine's border, Russia's demands include rolling back NATO forces from Eastern Europe and a ban on Ukraine joining NATO. America's written response was hand-delivered yesterday by the US ambassador to Moscow. It hasn't been made public. But the US and NATO have made it clear they will not agree to those demands. The US reiterated an alternative proposal it's made before.
The placement of offensive missile systems in Ukraine, military exercises and maneuvers in Europe, all of these things would address, I think, mutual concerns, including concerns stated by Russia.
Another concern is Germany's dependency on Russia for its energy needs, which could fracture NATO's solidarity. Germany's the biggest buyer of Russian natural gas and has refused to send weapons to Ukraine.
Should Russia choose to weaponize its natural gas by cutting supply to Europe even more than it's already done? We're in discussions with governments and major producers around the world about surging their capacity.
At St. Michael's Golden Domed Monastery in Kiev, where the faithful have worshipped for over 900 years. Some Ukrainians told us they're praying for peace. This woman said she hopes God will talk some sense into Russia.
The US says the ball is now in Russia's court, but a Kremlin spokesman said that Russia's main concerns have not been addressed by the US. He also said that the current situation is reminiscent of the Cold War. Holly Williams, CBS News, Kiev, Ukraine.
That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, never forget, we take a look back 77 years after Soviet forces liberate the Auschwitz concentration camps and hear from survivors on this Holocaust Memorial Day. And later, we're making Granny's moonshine pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Holocaust Memorial Day is being marked around the world 77 years after Soviet forces liberated Auschwitz, the largest Nazi death camp. As CBS's Tina Kraus reports, most survivors are now in their 90s.
Well, that's my mother, brother.
Alina Peretti says now is the time to finally share her memories of the Holocaust with her family.
There is no one day that I don't think about it.
She was just a child when she was put on a train to Auschwitz.
You had people lying down dead, and you have us standing up waiting when they're going to turn gun in our direction.
On this Holocaust Memorial Day, Eric Hirsch told the BBC about his experience at the death camp.
I lost my parents, I lost my brothers and sisters.
The 93-year-old showed the tattoo Nazis gave him.
If you were chosen to live, you got a number on your arm, and I got B7608.
At services across Europe to mark 77 years since liberation, many were reduced to tears.
We have to make sure that we never forget. We owe this to 6 million Jewish men, women, and children murdered in the Holocaust.
Faces of survivors, including Eric Hirsch, are part of a memorial exhibit commissioned by Britain's Prince Charles.
What better way of rejecting that kind of philosophy that led to the Holocaust and honouring survivors than this project?
Each painting is more than a person, it's a story. The prince hopes will inspire future generations to choose love over hate. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Holocaust Memorial Day also remembers people killed in genocides that followed in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia, and Darfur. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
If you love the Beverly Hillbillies, then you're going to love what we're whipping up today. It's one of Granny's favorites.
But first, Michael Aislip returns with your complete forecast.
Seems like it's been about 3 days on, 2 days off as far as our temperature roller coaster goes. We had the 23 and the 32, then we had 3 days of rising temps, the 2 days down below freezing. And now as we begin our jaunt up here on Thursday, this is going to be similar in nature to say probably where we were on Saturday. That's about where we'll top out. Now tomorrow, yeah, a little bit cooler. That's probably where we'll end up tomorrow, but we still got a great looking weekend ahead of us. Snow, a thing of the past that we had from early this morning, actually turned out to be rather pretty, and since it didn't affect any commutes, not too bad, and we're starting to develop some sunshine. It was interesting though along I-44. This is the snow depth that we picked up from this morning. Right here, just to the south of Springfield, they ended up with about 1/4 of an inch of snow. It was very visible there on the roads, and of course we talked yesterday about the problems that they had in Oklahoma City, just in the western portion of the suburbs. And they actually did extend that winter weather warning that they had. And we just kind of lucked out. You know, while we did see the dusting, certainly didn't need to worry about it. But now if you're a radar watcher, you may be looking out to the west and say, wait, this looks like the same setup that we had 48 hours ago when it dropped down to the panhandles and then proceeded toward us. That's not actually going to be the case because number one, we've got a nice warm up on our hands, but number two, kind of buffeted by a couple high pressure systems right here. And this thing's just going to die out as it makes its way toward the panhandle. Tomorrow morning, the national talker weather-wise is going to be that bad boy. That low pressure system that heads toward the northeast, they're going to have problematic weekend from really the mid-Atlantic all the way to New England as far as their travel concerns as they get hit by one of the good old-fashioned bomb cyclones, huge low-pressure system that's going to develop. Let's be thankful that we have a little bit of blue sky and sunshine over 7th and Rangeline. 40 degrees is where we stand. We'll catch up and talk a little bit about our wind because it's going to play a major role as we head toward the weekend. Well above the freezing mark, so that's welcome relief. Yet to see a whole lot of 40s on the board. Nowata hanging in there at 42. But we'll eventually make it up to about 44, 45 degrees. Jet stream a little here, there, and everywhere. We've got a split as it takes off from the Canadian border. Ours is more affected by what sweeps into the deep southwest that'll bring us some warmer temperatures here as we get to the weekend. First off, let's conquer Thursday, then we'll go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Going to have some partly cloudy skies as the clouds reemerge for later tonight. Wind coming in from the west, and then overnight, here we go. We're going to shift that wind. It's going to work in from the north. This is the key factor for why tomorrow is going to be a tad bit cooler than today. Consistently dropping down, and that's to drop our daily high, probably about 5-6 degrees, but no precipitation involved with it. Heavier winds out toward the east, about 10 to 15 miles per hour compared to the 5 to 10 that we'll see for the central and the western portion of the 4 states. But I want to point out on future track, because you're going to see a few dots pop up right through here. Atmosphere is rather dry up top. We're not going to see anything hit the ground. Won't even get the dusting like we did yesterday as the clouds continue to merge from north to south. Now, we were talking about that NFL forecast that we got. Let's jump from Saturday into Sunday. Our Saturday is going to be great. 50, partly sunny skies. Sunday, kickoff, 2 o'clock, Chiefs-Bengals, Arrowhead Stadium, 41 degrees, not a drop of precipitation in the entire Midwest. Weather not going to play a role. Also, too, won't be too windy. Then at 5:30 on our sister station on Fox 14, we are out to LA for the Rams and 49ers. Never rains in Southern California. That's where you can catch all the action, Tanya. And of course, should we have any changes with those, we'll update our NFL map tomorrow morning on the KOAM Morning News. But as far as our 4-state weekend goes, perfect opportunity. Get out, enjoy fresh air Saturday and Sunday morning, then enjoy the games Sunday afternoon and evening.
Yeah, Sunday's going to be a great day to watch those games. I guess you could take your TV outside, but why? I know you like to
If you were like a huge Bengals fan and you like didn't want to be with the people that you respect and love inside, you could do that. Somebody I know may be doing that.
Jeez. Okay.
4 states, you're welcome to stop by and join me.
Come join me too. I'll be rooting for the Chiefs. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Specialist First Class David Cavanis in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Neosho, Missouri, joined the 116th Engineer Battalion in 1950. That's when he served a tour in Korea and later in Vietnam. Cavanis was also stationed in Germany during the Cold War. To David Cavanis, we thank you, our four-state hero.
All things considered, we got a great afternoon in front of us. It's a little bit breezy, but seasonable temps, especially coming off of what we had to tolerate for Tuesday and Wednesday, up into the mid-40s. Yeah, a little bit cooler for tomorrow, but look at this end of January weekend that we had ahead of us. We're going to be in the 50s to finish off the first month of the new year.
I'm not complaining.
No.
And you are going to hate me come the first week of February, so I'm going to
As long as
remind
it's
you
only,
of that.
we can have it bad during the week, and then on the weekends make it beautiful
Okay.
again. There we go. What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, we're going to meet a woman who's on the road to recovery after her parents were told to pull the plug. Why second opinions matter in Health Watch. Plus, the Neosho School District has a creative new way to address their custodian shortage and help students looking for a new job. And a grant to help the Neosho Police Department purchase needed items for securing evidence. Hope you'll join us for those stories, a whole lot more. Of course, it's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.